Fabulous kindergartners, and welcome to Engineering Design number 4. This is the first part of number 4, and we are on week 7 of our learning. So this week we're going to be doing clothespin structures. So we're going to still be building and creating, but this time we're going to use a different material, and we're going to make tall structures. So I am Miss Acevedo. I am with USC Young Scientists Project, and I'm going to be leading you through this activity once again. So let's jump right on into it. Today, you will be able to create and test out different designs to make the tallest building out of clothespins and popsicle sticks. So if you haven't seen them before, this is what clothespins look like, and this is what popsicle sticks look like. And you're going to be building a building today, a tower or a skyscraper or a really tall building using these materials. So before we begin, I want to ask you one question. Now that we've been learning about architects, right? We know that architects are people that build structures. They build tall buildings and towers. They build houses and they build bridges. Now that we've learned last week what architects do you want to be an architect when you grow up? Why or why not? So take a second and think about that question, and then if you're going to share with someone in your family or if you're going to share with a friend, you can start your sentence with I would like to be an architect because, or I would not like to be an architect because, and then share why or why not. So that's your question to start off your learning today, and we're going to keep going. So we're going to do just a quick experiment. It takes about 1 minute, and we're going to explore. That means find something new. So what I'm going to ask for you to do is I want you to stand up and try standing on one foot like a flamingo that I have standing right here. So go ahead and do that. Stand up and stand on one foot. Nice. Okay, and now that you're standing on one foot, I want you to think about this question. Is standing on one foot challenging? That means, is that hard? Why or why not? So standing on one foot is challenging because, or standing on one foot is not challenging because. So I want you to think, is it challenging or is it not? And go ahead and share with someone in your family or a friend as to why standing on one foot is challenging or not. And then I'm going to explain. Okay, so standing on one foot actually is challenging. It's difficult. It's not easy. Standing on one foot is challenging because of balance. So here's a good example of balance. Balance means that it's equal on one side and two sides, both sides. So one side is not heavier than the other. They're balanced. They're equal on both sides. Your body is not balanced when you're standing on one foot because you're putting all your weight on this foot here, the foot that is standing. So for a moment there, you are not balanced. You're actually heavier on one side of your body. So it is hard to stand and balance when weight on this side of your body, and weight is how heavy something is, when that weight is not equal on both sides, it is hard to stand, right? So when we stand on one leg, our bodies are heavier in some places and lighter in others. You want to balance your weight, so after you wiggle around a little bit and shift your weight to both sides, you can stand on one foot pretty easily once you move that weight around and balance. So now let's get into your challenge or your task today. So your task today is to create a building, right? That's a structure. A structure is a building, a house, or a bridge. You're going to create a building today out of clothespins and popsicle sticks. And just like last time, we have criteria. Those are rules that you have to follow to build your building. So the building must stand up on its own. That's the first criteria. You can't let it lean on a wall or on a desk, you can't have it lean on that. You want it to stand up all on its own. Next, the building can only be made out of clothespins and popsicle sticks. So this is clothespins and this is popsicle sticks. You're going to use these materials and you can only build your house or your building out of these materials. So let's go ahead and watch me get started first. Hello, my kindergartner friends. I'm here to show you all the materials that you're going to need to build your clothespin structure. So, for our structures today, you're going to need a few materials. You're going to need clothespins. I have clothespins right here. You can find them at a store. You can find them at Walmart or Target or any different place. But you need clothespins. We use this to pin our clothes, but today we're going to use this to build a building. You're also going to need popsicle sticks, okay? You can also buy these at a store close to you, or you can just eat a lot of ice cream and then try to get your popsicle sticks from there. But I think if you buy them, it is a lot easier. So we have just two materials that we need today, popsicle sticks and clothespins. Okay, so now I'm going to teach you a few ways on how to start building. Now, I'm not going to give you the answers to how to build your structure today or your building today, but I will give you some tips to help you get started. It will be a challenging process. It tips over a lot, but it will be fun and you will find a way to make a really tall building with just these two materials. So I'm going to go ahead and just show you how the clothespin works. The clothespin works just by simply pushing it down with your two fingers. You see that? It opens and closes. And you can use it to connect popsicle sticks. See, I just open and closed it and open and close this piece. There you go. And now it stands right here. I'll bring it a little bit lower. Now you see that it stands. Now, if I wanted to make my clothespin a little bit taller, or my tower a little bit taller, I can start clipping the opposite way, and I can start stacking up my building tower, and I can use that to make, there we go, to make my structure. Now, that's one way to build. Another way to build is you can just stack them on each other and then start pinning upward, so you can create little floors with your pin. So if you lay them flat, it becomes a new way to build. Let me show you. So I can go ahead and take this pin, and I can go ahead and take this pin with this pin and this popsicle stick, and now I have a little base. You'll see what I'm talking about in just a moment. There we go. I have my little base. And now what I can do is I can start stacking popsicle sticks to make a new floor of my tower. Just like that, and then I can go ahead and stack a new one. So I'm going to go ahead, that is tough to see, but you can see that I am building a floor with those popsicle sticks. There you go. So now I can go ahead and come and I can start building a second piece of my tower. So there's so many different ways that you can do this. Just try it out. It is challenging at times, but I know that you're all going to create amazing popsicle stick and clothespin towers, and it will come out phenomenal. And then we'll come back and we'll share how it was building our towers and what worked and what didn't work. So go ahead and get started and have fun. Hello, my kindergartner friends. I'm here. Okay, so now it is your turn to try. Go ahead and build your building using clothespins and popsicle sticks. Remember, it must stand up by itself, and you can only use these two materials. Go ahead and pause this video and get started. And when you're ready, press that play button. Okay, now it's time to reflect. Think closely about what we just did. So find a family member or friend to present your building to, then answer the following question. What was the most challenging part about creating your building? And you can start your sentence by saying the most challenging part was, and then tell your family member or friend what was challenging, what was hard about it. Now it's time to reflect even more. How are buildings able to stay up when they are so tall because it was so hard to get our buildings to stay up so tall. So how do buildings do it? And why don't buildings fall over? Why don't they fall over when they're so tall? Because I know my building fell over when it was getting really tall. So you can start your sentence with buildings can stand tall because, and they don't fall over because. Go ahead and share your thinking with someone else with you. Now, let's learn a little bit about what makes buildings so tall and strong. Buildings need balanced weight in order to have height. So just like our bodies, buildings need balanced weight as well. Balance and weight can affect the height, so how tall a structure is. If a building is not balanced or has the same weight on both sides, it can't stand tall and it will fall over. So let me show you in the next picture what I mean by balanced on both sides. So, here we go. So we're going to look at some buildings. These buildings have balanced weight on both sides. So what that means is I drew a line on all of the buildings right here. And you will see that on all 7 buildings, both sides, if you cut them in half, both sides are the same. They're equal. They weigh the same. So one side is not heavier than the other and it won't tip over. The fact that these buildings are the same on both sides is what helps them stay standing tall. These buildings have height. They're nice and tall and they don't tip over because they are balanced. So now it's your turn. Go ahead and show your learning. Rebuild your building using the same rules, criteria. It must stand on its own and the building can only be made of popsicles and clothespins. But this time use your new learning to make them stronger and taller. Make your building balanced so it can be nice and high. Go ahead and try it out. So now we're going to be talking about the scientist of the week, and that's Mark Gardner. Mark Gardner is an architect. This is him right here. And he's always been interested in building houses and in construction. He is a big fan of the wood frame houses, just like this. These are his favorite in this house here. He likes when houses are made out of wood. And in high school, he traveled to Paris, that's in a different country, to study building houses. And he participated in a NASA program where he learned about material forensic. He learned about which materials are strong, he learned about which materials are weak, and he learned about how materials can fail sometimes, not work right, if they are not used right or correctly. So he loves architecture. Mark loves architecture because it's the perfect mix of art, science, history, and materials. He loves building things. So thank you all my friends for working so hard this week. Go ahead and build the tallest tower you possibly can that is nice and balanced. And I can't wait to hear about how tall you made your tower or building. Go ahead and build, build, build. And I will see you next week for our final lesson. Goodbye, friends.